Let me create a new project for this. In this video, I'll be going through the database connection and creating the tables or inserting the records into it, how we can do that using the application, the Spring Boot application. So for that, let me create a new project, starter project. The name I'm going to give is project database, artifact, description, Java 17 version. I'm not going to change anything over here. Next, I would like to have Spring Data JPA dependency and Spring Web dependency. Also, I would like to have DevTools, Spring Boot DevTools. This I'm going to use so that the application builds itself whenever I save the changes in one or two of the classes or files. Click on next and finish. The project database application class is the starting point of the application because it is being annotated with Spring Boot application. So let me create the required classes and methods, and then we'll be back again. Now let me just walk you through the code changes what I have done. It looks a bit similar to the way I have designed in my Swagger video. If you want to watch that, I'll just provide a link to that as well. I'll be using Swagger UI for the execution of REST APIs. I have created a user detail model with 3 properties: ID, first name and last name, and their respective getters and setters. ID is my primary key, and this is being annotated with entity. We have a repository class which extends the JPA repository. If you want to use, you can use CRUD repository, but JPA repository provides certain more functionalities, so it would be better if we use JPA repository, and it is being annotated with @repository. The controller, it is similar to how it was in the Swagger video. There is a repository services and a get mapping for the root URL. To get the list of users, we have mapping of /users, and to create a new user in the user detail table, we have the /users post request. And apart from this, okay, first let me show the pom.xml. In the pom.xml, I have added the dependency for Spring Dot so that I can have the access to the Spring UI. I'm using the mariaDB dependency so that I can get a JDBC driver for mariaDB, and a Oracle dependency to get the driver for Oracle connection. And in the application.properties, first I'll try to connect to the mariaDB, and also we'll see how to connect it to the Oracle. Here I'm using spring.datasource.url property, which has the value of JDBC, mariaDB, localhost, and all these things. This is the database and the user login name and the password. Let me also show you the database. This is the connection for mariaDB. Here you can see the mariaDB connection. Database is project DB and user is root, password is also root. And we have 2 records in this user detail table, which is present in the mariaDB's project DB, Rahul Dravid and Adam Gilchrist. These 2 are the cricketers. Let me also show the Oracle database schema. I have created a user with name project_db, which has user detail table. These 2 are the tennis stars, Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. So this is the information about the database. Let me also show the connection details for this. The database name is xcpdb1, username is system, and password is root, and localhost port number is 1521. Let me just start the application and we'll see if we are able to fetch and post the APIs. So the server has started. Let's go here, localhost, connecting to the Swagger. You can see we had defined 3 REST APIs, and you can see the schema as well, user detail schema. Let us try and fetch the details, execute. So here you can see Rahul Dravid and Adam Gilchrist, which we saw in the database in here for this mariaDB. Let us try and hit a post request for this. Try it out. Sorry, 3 Sachin Tendulkar. Execute, and you can see in here a new entry was created. Let us also see into the database. Refresh here, which means we are able to connect to the database using this connection for the application. Now there is one more way. Instead of using the application.properties, we can also create a class and then we can define the connection in there. Let us try that as well. Stop the server, comment these. I have already created a database connection class. Here I have a configuration class which is annotated with @configuration. I am creating a bean with name mariaDB data source. The method mariaDB data source returns data source builder. We are providing a URL similar to what we have defined in the properties, the username and also the password. Let us see if we can access the application. Reload, try it out. Yes, we are able to hit the request using the configuration. You can see we have disabled the configuration within the application.properties. Alright, so in this video we'll concentrate on application.properties itself. I have shown this just to give a glimpse of the way we can configure the database connection through the classes. Where in one of the videos I'll be having the configuration using the class so that I can demonstrate the multiple database usage within the same application. For now, this is it from the class configuration. Let us return back. Let me provide the configuration for Oracle as well. We'll just have a test and we'll go further. I have already shown you the connection configurations. The database name in here is xcpdb1. The username is project_db and the password is this. I have already saved and it has, let me just restart it again. Okay, let me reload it. Swagger. Try it out. Execute. Oh, it is still connecting to the what's going wrong. Okay, I have not. Just remove these. Start the application again. Reload users. There you go. We have connected to the Oracle database, and in this table for the Oracle database we have 2 entries. You can see in here xcpdb1 and user detail table has Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. Let us try the post request. Number 3 Novak Djokovic. Execute, and here you go, a new entry has been added. Let us also see in the database. Refresh, there you go. So here what we have done is we have created a table by ourselves, and also we have tried to execute the get and post requests. In the real world application, what happens is there will be many tables, and it is required to have those tables created by the application itself. So we do not want the developers to provide the SQL files individually, but we want them to have within the application, which can be used by all of the developers. And also there will be certain tables which might need the initial entries into the tables whenever an application is started or being built. For that purpose, what we can do is I'll just delete those tables. We'll first try to create the tables using the application itself. For that, we have a property. First, let me delete the tables. Delete. We'll concentrate only on the mariaDB. This was our configuration. The property name is spring.jpa.generate DDL equals true. Save. And the application has restarted because we are using the dev tools. Let's see if the table has been created here. Refresh. The table has been created without any entries. Now this property, the spring.jpa generate DDL, along with one more property, spring.jpa hibernate.ddl auto create drop. There is another property, this guy, which has several values like create drop, validate, update, and other stuff. Will not go in detail into all of them. So here there is one property. What it does is it recreates the table every time you start the application. So for that, let us add the property to show the SQL in our console. Spring.jpa dot show SQL equals true. Let me start the application. Here you can see the hibernate has executed drop table if exists, and then it also executed create table, which means it has dropped the table if at all it was existing in the database, and then it has created a new table. Here you won't be able to see any changes because it has recreated. So this property is explicitly provided by Hibernate. What if we want to create the entries in the tables as well? In some of the tables we'll be needing the facility to add the entries into the tables by default. So for that, the Hibernate properties won't be useful for us. What we'll do is we'll try to use the Spring's functionality for that purpose. Let me remove these three properties. Delete. SQL dot init mode equals always. If we enable spring.sql.init mode always, we need two SQL files that has to be created. This feature or the functionality provided by Spring can be used for the demo purposes. If you have some demo data and you want to give some demo, during those times you can use this feature. There is a file called schema.sql. I think it is open here. This schema.sql, which contains the creation DDL queries, and the data.sql, which contains the DML queries. I have here two entries, so Ricky Ponting and Lance Klusner. Let me start the application and see if this works. Reload this guy. loaded. Try it out. You can see here Ricky Ponting and Lance Klusner have been created. Let us also see in the database. Refresh. Table has been created. Ricky Ponting and Lance Klusner. Now, what if I restart the application again? If I restart the application, it gives me error and it doesn't start. The application doesn't start. The Spring Boot follows fail fast, which means if the query fails at some point of time, the application doesn't start itself. For that, what we can do is we can add one more property so that it just ignores the errors, if at all there are, whenever the application is starting and queries are being failed. This actually has failed because the table was already created and the entries were already there in the table. The property is spring.sequel.init.continue on error equals true. So if I set it to true and start the application, it starts without errors. You can also see here, execute. Just for your purpose, if I do it as false, restart, failed. This we have done it for mariaDB. What if we want to have the flexibility to configure more than one database and also provide the SQL files for them? For that, what Spring does is it provides a property wherein we can give a property name and the SQL file names will be having the same property name. Let me add that as well. Spring.sequel.init.platform. For this, what I'll do is mariaDB, and I'll just comment this out so that default it will be giving me the errors. And let me also drop the database, let me also drop the table. Yes, if we add this property, we need to add the platform name for the SQL files. Let me add them. Let copy, refactor, rename, hyphen mariaDB, and hyphen. Alright, let me start. So we have deleted the table. If you see here, refresh and start the application, you can see, refresh, the table has been created and entries are also being created by these two files. So why do we need this? This is because if we have more than one database in different platforms or different places to be exhibited, we can use this feature. Let me just show you for Oracle as well. Here we have this, open with text editor. I have created two SQL files for Oracle. The schema Oracle SQL file, which contains the create table, here you see, and we have data Oracle file, which contains the information of insertion. We also need to add the configuration in here. This was Oracle, and this one project_db, and the file is Oracle. We'll delete the table. This, do we have the table? No, we do not have the table. me start the application and see what happens. Try this out, execute. You can see here also in the database. Refresh, user detail, there you go. Again, if you want to restart the application, the same thing happens, fail fast, because already you have the property of this Spring SQL init platform is just a placeholder. You can just type in ABC and the SQL file should have data-abc.sql and schema-abc.sql. The name is basically used to have a placeholder. We use the names of the database so that it makes a bit meaningful usage in the application. This can just be used for the demo purpose, and in the real world application it is a little difficult to use it. So what we can do is we can use a higher database transformation flexibility like Flyway and Liquibase. So I'll be adding the Liquibase video for that purpose, and also hopefully the Flyway. There will be a follow-up video for this to see the multiple database connections in a single application. I think that's it from this video. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.